Imagine your best friend and your boyfriend betraying you in the most unthinkable way, right in front of your eyes on a fun game night in Chicago. I froze, participated against my will, woke up to them tangled together while I had a complete breakdown. Then I saw their texts. Best night of my life. So hot. Want to do it again? They thought I'd stay quiet, forgive, disappear. They were wrong. This is my raw, real revenge story, how I silently destroyed their jobs, reputations, and lives without ever raising my voice, from rock bottom to total power reversal. If you've ever been betrayed and craved justice, this one's for you. Watch till the end. You won't believe the satisfaction.
Hey everyone, my name's Emily. I'm 26, living in a cozy little apartment in downtown Chicago. You know, the kind with the big windows overlooking the bustling streets, the L train rumbling by every few minutes, and that constant hum of city life that makes you feel alive. I've been here for about 4 years now, ever since I graduated college and landed a graphic design job at a mid-sized marketing firm. Chicago's my home. The deep dish pizza runs, the summer festivals by the lake, the brutal winters that somehow bring people closer. It's where I built my life. My best friend, Sarah, lives just a few blocks away in Wicker Park. We've been inseparable since freshman year at the University of Illinois. Sarah's the bold one, outgoing, always the life of the party, with that infectious laugh that turns heads. She's a bartender at a trendy spot in Logan Square, knows everyone, and has this way of making you feel like you're the center of her world. We share everything: late-night tacos after her shifts, brunches where we gossip about work drama, secrets we've never told anyone else. Then there's Jake, my boyfriend of 2 years. We met through Sarah, actually. She introduced us at a rooftop party last summer. Jake's 28, works in tech sales, has that easy smile and those blue eyes that still make my stomach flip. He's sweet, thoughtful, the kind of guy who surprises me with coffee on rough mornings and holds my hand during scary movies. I thought we were solid, building something real. The three of us hanging out was normal. Game nights, movie marathons, just chilling with takeout and wine. That night, it was Sarah's place. Her apartment's cute, all exposed brick and string lights, with that big sectional couch perfect for lounging. It started innocent, like always. We ordered Thai food, played some board games. I kicked their butts at Monopoly, as usual. Then we switched to Netflix, binging some dumb comedy series, laughing until our sides hurt. A few drinks in, Sarah suggested Never Have I Ever. We'd played it before, mostly silly stuff, but this time the questions got personal, sexual. At first, it was fun. Flirty banter, blushing admissions. Sarah was leading, of course, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Then she dropped it. Never have I ever had a threesome. Jake and I both took a sip of water. We'd agreed to switch to non-alcoholic midway. No, neither of us. The air shifted. I felt it immediately. Sarah's vibe changed. Her smile turned sharper, almost predatory. She stared at us, then said, "What if we did something crazy tonight?" I laughed it off, nervous chuckle. "Yeah, right, Sarah, you're hilarious." But she didn't laugh back. She scooted closer to Jake on the couch, right next to him, her hand on his knee, and then she leaned in and kissed him. My heart stopped. Time froze. Jake, he didn't pull away. His lips moved against hers, like it was nothing, like I wasn't sitting right there. I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened like someone was squeezing my lungs. Hands went numb. I just stared, watching my best friend make out with my boyfriend in front of me. They deepened it, hands roaming, clothes shifting. Sarah glanced at me once, her eyes challenging, daring. And Jake, he looked too, but not with guilt. With excitement? My brain short-circuited, trauma response, I guess. I told myself it was a joke, a game gone weird. Normal friends do this? No, but I couldn't process the betrayal, the humiliation. So I joined. Undressed, participated, like a puppet. It happened, all of it, blurred, surreal, violating.
The next morning, I woke up on the couch, alone at first. Then I saw them, naked, tangled on the floor, asleep like lovers. Bile rose in my throat. I grabbed my clothes, bolted out the door without a word, ran the blocks home in the chilly Chicago dawn, tears streaming. When reality crashed in, I collapsed, curled on my bathroom floor, sobbing, throwing up. Intrusive flashes, bodies, moans, betrayal. Texts started coming. Sarah, M, you okay? That was wild, LOL. Jake, babe, call me. It was crazy but kinda hot. I couldn't respond, couldn't even look at my phone without shaking. Why did I let it happen? Why didn't I scream, stop it, leave? Why did Sarah start it? Why did Jake go along so easily? I loved them both, trusted them with everything. Now I feel disgusting, used, betrayed in the deepest way. And the worst part of me blames myself for not fighting back. It's been 3 days since that night, and I swear Chicago has never felt so suffocating. My apartment used to be my safe place. Those big windows letting in the golden morning light over the skyline, the distant honk of taxis, the smell of fresh coffee from the shop downstairs. Now, it feels like a prison. Every corner reminds me of something. The couch where Jake and I used to cuddle during Blackhawks games, the kitchen counter where Sarah and I would split a bottle of wine and talk until 3 a.m. I can't even look at my bed without my stomach twisting. I called in sick to work on Monday, then again on Tuesday. My boss thinks it's food poisoning or the flu. I let her believe it. How do you explain to your manager that you're throwing up because your brain keeps replaying your boyfriend inside your best friend? The memories hit like punches. I'll be standing at the sink rinsing a mug, and suddenly, flash, Sarah's hand sliding up Jake's thigh, his mouth on hers, the way he moaned her name, my own body moving on autopilot, joining in because my mind just shut down. I drop whatever I'm holding, run to the bathroom, and heave until there's nothing left. My throat burns, my eyes are permanently swollen. I look like a stranger in the mirror, pale, hollow, broken. And the worst part? The guilt. Why didn't I stop it? Why didn't I scream, slap her, drag him out? Why did I participate? I keep replaying it, searching for the moment I could have changed everything, but I just froze, like my soul left my body and watched it all happen. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing. At first, I couldn't even touch it. Now I read the messages through cracked eyes, heart pounding every time. Sarah's texts are the knife twist. M, girl, you okay? You bolted so fast. That was wild, though. Call me when you're done being dramatic. We all had fun, right? Miss you already. Let's grab brunch soon. Fun? Dramatic? She writes LOL after asking if I'm okay, like this is some hilarious college story we'll laugh about later. Jake's are somehow worse because they sound like him, the guy I loved. Babe, please pick up. I miss you so much. That night was insane, yeah, but it doesn't have to change us. I hope you're not too upset. Honestly, it was kind of a special thing, like we all connected on another level. Special? Connected? He used the word hot in one voicemail, actually said, it was crazy but kinda hot, right? I finally agreed to meet him yesterday. I couldn't hide forever. We sat at this quiet little coffee shop in Lincoln Park, the one with the big windows and plants everywhere, neutral territory. My hands shook so bad I could barely hold my latte. He looked normal, freshly showered, that same easy smile, like nothing happened. I asked everything, needed the truth no matter how much it hurt. No, Em, I swear I haven't been sleeping with her. That night was the first time, literally. A tiny breath of relief, but it didn't last. He shrugged when I asked if he wanted it. Actually shrugged. I'm a guy, babe. The vibe was super sexual all night. Those questions you two were asking, Sarah straight up saying we were turning her on. I thought everyone was into it. She did say that. I remember her giggling, you two are killing me with these answers. I thought she was joking, flirting harmlessly. He kept going. She came on to me so bold. And yeah, doing it right in front of you, that turned me on. I thought it'd be this fun, wild experience for all of us. My chest caved in. Then the real gut punch. When she kissed me so confidently, I figured you two had talked about it, like planned it. That's why you invited me over, right? Planned it? It was Sarah's idea to have him come hang out. He swore they didn't hook up after I left, just talked about how bad they felt for possibly hurting me. He left soon after. But then I asked to see his phone, the messages between them. He hesitated, got panicky. Let me just remind you, I was still in the mindset that it was this shared, special moment for us. My heart dropped into my stomach. I knew whatever was there would destroy me, but I needed to see. He handed it over. Sarah, let me know when you hear from Emily. Jake, I will, but real quick, can I be honest? Sarah, always, emoji. Jake, last night was the best night of my life. Sarah, same. I feel kinda bad if she's upset, but God, it was so hot. Jake, I'll be sad if we never get to do that again. Sarah, you're everything Emily always said you were, and more. Jake, she talks about me like that? Sarah, all the time. I low-key wanted to see for myself. Then it got explicit. Him praising her body, her skills. I skimmed faster, bile rising. No old affair, just proof that while I was curled up on my bathroom floor sobbing and vomiting, they were gushing over each other like teenagers. I stood up, told him to leave. He begged, actually begged for forgiveness, for another chance. Go fuck her again, I said, since you loved it so much. Then I walked out into the cold Chicago air and didn't look back. Now the shame is turning into something else, something hotter, darker. They didn't just betray me, they doubled down. No real remorse. Jake twisting it into some bonding experience. Sarah acting like I'm overreacting to a fun night. I'm not disposable. My pain isn't an inconvenience they can laugh off. The anger is growing. It's quiet right now, but it's there, building. They think they can do this to me and just move on? They're about to learn how wrong they are.
A week has crawled by, and I'm officially at the lowest point of my life. Chicago is in full winter mode now. Gray skies, biting wind off the lake, slushy sidewalks that soak through your boots no matter how careful you are. I've been wandering this city like a ghost, bundling up in my biggest coat and just walking for hours. Down the Magnificent Mile, along the Riverwalk, out to Navy Pier even though half of it's closed for the season. Anywhere that keeps me moving so the thoughts can't catch up. But they always do. Work is a disaster. I drag myself in, plaster on a smile, and pretend I'm fine during stand-up meetings. My designs are garbage, colors too dark, layouts off balance. My art director pulled me aside yesterday and asked if everything was okay. I lied and said I was fighting a bug. The truth is, I'm fighting memories that hit me at random. Sarah's smug little glance while she kissed him, Jake's hand in her hair, my own body betraying me, moving when I wanted to scream. I've lost 7 pounds, sleep maybe 3 hours a night. When I do drift off, I jolt awake in a panic, heart racing, sheets tangled. Sarah tried calling 4 times. I let it ring. Then, 2 nights ago, my intercom buzzed at 9 p.m. I checked the camera. There she was, holding a bottle of my favorite Malbec and a bag of tacos from Big Star, smiling up at the lens like nothing had happened. I almost didn't let her up, but part of me needed to see if she'd show even a shred of real remorse. Big mistake. She bounced in, hugged me tight like we were still us. Oh my God, I've been so worried. You look skinny. Here, tacos and wine fix everything. I stood there, stiff, arms at my sides. She plopped on my couch, the same spot Jake used to sit, and patted the cushion next to her. Sit, talk to me. So I did. Voice shaking, I laid it out. How violated I felt, how I froze, how I've been throwing up, how their texts made it worse. She listened, nodding, sipping wine straight from the bottle. Then she laughed, actually laughed.
Babe, I get it. It was intense, but we were all drunk, all horny, all into it. You joined, remember? It wasn't just me and Jake. You were right there with us. I stared at her. I froze, Sarah. I didn't want. Come on, she cut me off, rolling her eyes. The game was filthy. You two were turning me on all night with your cute little couple answers. I saw an opening and took it. And yeah, Jake's incredible, just like you always bragged. One wild night doesn't have to ruin everything. Bragged, like my happiness with him was an invitation. She kept going. Honestly, I've been low-key jealous of you two forever. Perfect couple, perfect sex life you kept rubbing in my face, opportunity knocked. Jealous. She said it casually, like it justified everything. Then the killer. If you're honest with yourself, it might even spice things up for you and Jake. Some couples do this stuff on purpose. I lost it. Full on screamed at her for the first time in 10 years of friendship. Told her to get out. She grabbed the wine, muttered, "You're being dramatic," and left. Door slammed. Silence. I slid down the wall and sobbed until my ribs hurt. Jake's texts kept coming. At first, pleading, then different. "I miss you. That night doesn't have to define us." Sarah mentioned trying it again, properly this time. Talk about it first, set ground rules. Could be fun if we all communicate. Fun. Again. He wanted to do it again? That was the moment something inside me snapped. Not in a loud, dramatic way. Quiet. Cold. Final. I sat on my bathroom floor, the same spot I'd cried in the morning after, and the self-doubt finally shut up. Was I overreacting? No. Was it my fault for freezing? No. Did they cross a line that can never be uncrossed? Yes. Sarah, entitled, manipulative, thinking our friendship gave her a free pass to take whatever she wanted. Jake, spineless, selfish, rewriting history so he doesn't have to feel guilty. They both looked at my pain and decided it was inconvenient, an overreaction, something to get past so they could keep feeling good. I wiped my face, stood up, and looked in the mirror. The broken girl was still there, but behind her eyes, something new was burning. They think I'm weak, that I'll swallow this, stay quiet, maybe even forgive them because that's what nice people do. They have no idea who they just created. I'm done being the victim who lets betrayal slide. From this moment on, I'm going to make them feel every ounce of this hurt. They underestimated me, and that's going to be their biggest mistake. Spring finally showed up in Chicago, and the city came alive again. The trees along Michigan Avenue exploded with pink blossoms, the lakefront trail filled with runners and cyclists, patio season kicked off with crowded rooftops and overpriced cocktails. Everyone around me seemed lighter, happier, like the long winter had never happened. On the outside, I looked like I was right there with them. I started posting again, smiling selfies at the Art Institute, brunch pics with my work friends at a new spot in West Loop, stories of sunset runs along the lake. People commented things like, "So good to see you glowing again," and "Chicago summer suits you," if they only knew. The truth? I was changing, quietly, deliberately, in ways no one could see. First thing I did was find a therapist, a highly recommended one in the Loop with evening appointments. Twice a week, I'd sit in her calm, plant-filled office and unpack everything. The freeze response that night, the shame, the rage, the self-blame. She didn't rush me to forgive or move on. She taught me about coercion, about how betrayal rewires your sense of safety, about how freezing is a legitimate trauma response, not weakness. For the first time, I stopped blaming myself for not fighting harder in that moment. The guilt didn't vanish, but it got quieter. Then came the body. I started running every morning before work, 4 miles, then 5, then 7. Along the lake path at dawn, past the tourists taking sunrise pics at the Bean, past the dog walkers and early commuters. My lungs burned, my legs screamed, but the pain felt clean, productive. Mine to control. I added strength training at a little gym in River North. Deadlifts, squats, pull-ups. I watched my arms get defined, my posture straighten. I wasn't trying to be hot for revenge. I was building armor. I kept loose tabs on Sarah and Jake. Not stalking, just observing from a safe distance. I left them both unblocked on socials, but muted everything. Every few weeks, I'd scroll through their stories when I needed fuel. Sarah was thriving, or pretending to. Endless posts from behind the bar, flashy cocktails, big tips, crowds cheering her name on busy nights, selfies in low-cut tops with captions like, "Living my best life." Group pics at rooftop parties, music festivals, beach days at North Avenue. She looked confident, untouchable. Jake wasn't posting as much, but when he did, it was the same polished version of himself. Suit pics from work events, gym selfies, golf outings with clients. He'd like every single one of Sarah's stories. She'd like his. Sometimes they'd appear in group shots at mutual friends' parties. Never together alone, careful, but close enough for people to notice. Our old college friends still invited me places. I went sometimes, smiled, laughed at the right times. When someone asked about Jake, I'd say, "We're just doing our own thing now," and change the subject. No one pushed. Inside my apartment at night, though, the real work happened. I started a private journal, not the cute kind with inspirational quotes, a plain black notebook where I wrote down every detail I remembered. Dates, exact text messages I screenshotted before blocking them temporarily, things mutual friends mentioned in passing, Sarah bragging about wild stories in group chats I still lurked in, Jake's new cocky energy at a rooftop happy hour someone told me about. I read Reddit threads obsessively, not just revenge stories, but ones about boundaries, gaslighting, workplace conduct policies. I learned what was legal and what wasn't. I bookmarked anonymous review sites, company contact forms, professional networking pages. Sarah's bar was popular, but reviews mattered, tips mattered, reputation mattered. Jake's tech sales job, image was everything. Client dinners, LinkedIn presence, that trustworthy guy vibe he sold to close deals. They both lived in worlds where perception was currency, and they'd severely underestimated mine. People saw me as the nice one, the quiet designer who always listened, who avoided drama, who forgave easily. Sarah used to tease me about it. "M's too sweet for this city." Jake called me his soft place to land. They mistook kindness for weakness. Big mistake. On the outside, I was healing Emily. Therapy, fitness, brunches, lakefront sunsets. On the inside, I was becoming something else entirely. Something patient, precise, coldly focused. Every run along the lake, every therapy breakthrough, every screenshot saved, it was all fuel for the fire that never went out. They thought I'd cried it out and moved on. They thought the story was over. They had no idea I was just getting started. The calm on my face wasn't peace. It was the quiet before the storm. And storms in Chicago, though, they don't warn you. They just hit.
Summer hit Chicago like a fever. Thick, humid air that makes your skin stick to everything, rooftop bars packed shoulder to shoulder, the lakefront alive with volleyball games and crowded beaches. Everyone's out living their best life, posting sun-kissed stories, chasing that endless golden hour glow. Me? I was ready to start turning the heat up on Sarah and Jake. I didn't go big. Not yet. Revenge isn't an explosion. It's a slow burn. You start with sparks so small, no one notices until the whole thing's on fire. The first spark was Sarah's bar. That trendy spot in Logan Square where she's the star bartender, the one with the neon signs, the craft cocktails that go viral on TikTok, the weekend lines out the door. Reputation is everything there. Reviews drive traffic. Bad reviews, owners notice. Tips drop. Shifts get cut. So I created a brand new Google account. No profile pic, no history, just a blank local guide. Then I left a review. 3 stars. Not 1 because that looks fake and bitter. 3 stars feels real, honest. Cool vibe and great drinks most nights, but had an uncomfortable experience with one of the female bartenders, Sarah.
She was overly flirty with my boyfriend right in front of me, kept touching his arm, making suggestive comments, ignoring that we were clearly a couple, made the whole night awkward. Probably won't be back on weekends. Short, specific, no cursing, no caps lock rage, just calm disappointment from a regular Chicagoan. Then I did the same on Yelp. Same wording, slight variation so it didn't look copied. Within a week, 2 more reviews popped up that weren't mine, similar complaints. Bartender crossed lines with my group, flirty staff made female customers uncomfortable. I didn't write them, but I wasn't surprised. Sarah's always been bold behind the bar. Turns out I wasn't the only one who'd noticed. I watched her stories. One night she posted a frustrated rant. Why do people leave shady reviews when they had a great time? Haters? Weird. Then a poll. Ever dealt with fake Yelp drama? Most voted yes. She was annoyed, but still laughing it off. Spark 1 landed. Next was Jake. His tech sales job isn't some startup. It's a mid-sized company with a big LinkedIn presence, corporate clients, the kind of place that brags about culture and integrity in every pitch deck. They have a public Contact Us form on their website and an anonymous ethics hotline email buried in the footer. I used a Proton Mail account. No name, subject line neutral. Concern about employee conduct. Body. I'm hesitant to send this, but felt it was important. Jake, last name, one of your sales reps has been involved in inappropriate personal relationships that are starting to affect his professional reputation in Chicago's tech circle. I've heard from multiple sources that he's crossed boundaries with women connected to his social network, including situations involving taken partners. Not sure if this violates company policy, but thought leadership should know in case it impacts client trust. No details that could trace back, no threats, just a quiet flag. I didn't expect an immediate firing, but I knew it would land in someone's inbox. HR loves paper trails. A week later, a mutual friend mentioned Jake seemed stressed at a networking happy hour, kept checking his phone, drinking more than usual. Another friend said he'd pulled out of a big client golf outing last minute. Work stuff, he'd said. Spark 2? Planted. Then I started seeding the social soil. I made a burner Instagram, private, no followers, generic name like Chai City Girl 22. I followed a few local Chicago meme pages, nightlife accounts, nothing connected to me. From there, I slid into a couple of mutual friends' DMs, girls from college who'd always been peripherally close to Sarah. Not the inner circle, but close enough to gossip. Hey girl, random Q, have you heard anything weird about Sarah lately? Someone told me she hooked up with a taken guy and it caused drama. Didn't want to believe it, but figured you'd know. Both replied fast. One, wait, what? No, but now I need details. The other, I've heard whispers but thought it was just bar drama. Who? I gave vague answers. Not sure if I should say, don't want to spread rumors if it's not true, just thought it was sketchy. Then I stopped responding. Let it sit. Within days, I saw it spreading. One of them posted a cryptic story, when your friend isn't who you thought, with the snake emoji. Another asked in a group chat I still lurked in, anyone heard about Sarah and some couple's boyfriend? No one named me, no one pointed to that night, but the questions were out there now, quiet little ripples. Sarah posted a defensive story a few days later. People really out here making up stories for attention? Sad. But her face looked tighter. Less smile, more edge. Jake unfollowed a couple mutuals who'd liked the shady posts, started posting more positive vibes-only gym content. They were feeling it. Tiny pricks of pressure. Nothing they could point to. No big confrontation. Just life getting uncomfortable. And me? I was still the calm, glowing Emily on the outside, posting lakefront runs in my new toned legs, brunch pics laughing with real friends, work happy hours where I crushed presentations and got compliments from my boss. No one suspected, but every time I hit submit on another quiet move, I felt it, a small, secret win, only I knew about. The board was set, the pieces were moving, and they hadn't even noticed the hand guiding them yet. This was just the beginning. The real fire was still coming.
Fall swept into Chicago like it always does. Crisp air one day, bitter cold the next. The leaves along the lakefront turned fiery red and gold before dropping in heaps on the paths. pumpkin spice everything, Halloween parties, the first whispers of holiday plans. The city was buzzing, moving forward. But for Sarah and Jake, things were starting to feel off. I kept my distance, no contact, no accidental run-ins. I'd muted their stories again, but mutual friends and quiet check-ins told me everything I needed to know. Sarah's bar was usually packed on weekends, the kind of place where people waited 40 minutes for a table just to get one of her signature cocktails. Not anymore. The reviews kept coming. Not a flood, that would look suspicious, but steady, 4 or 5 new ones every week. All 3 or 4 stars, all mentioning the same thing in different words. Drinks are great, but one bartender, Sarah, got way too handsy with my boyfriend. Fun spot, but felt uncomfortable when the female bartender kept flirting aggressively with taken guys in our group. Cute vibe, but staff crossed boundaries and made half our party want to leave early. Real customers, real experiences. I'd only started the pattern, the internet did the rest. Her tips took a hit first, then the weekend crowds thinned on her shifts. I heard from a coworker who knew someone who worked there that the manager pulled her aside. "We're getting complaints, Sarah. Tone down the flirting. Some people don't love it." She posted a story one night after close, a dimly lit selfie behind the bar, fake smile, caption, "When fake reviews try to ruin your night, but you still kill it." But her eyes were tired, puffy. The laugh in her voice memos to friends sounded forced. She started snapping at regulars. One guy left a bad review after she short-poured him when he didn't tip big enough. Another girl posted on a local Facebook group. Anyone else feel like the vibe at blank bar has gone downhill? Used to love it. Sarah was paranoid now. She'd text mutual friends asking if they knew who was starting shit. One of them told me she cried in the bathroom during a slow shift, something the old Sarah never would have done. Pressure building. Jake wasn't doing much better. That anonymous tip I sent to his company, it didn't stay alone for long. A second one landed a few weeks later, this time mentioning questionable judgment in personal relationships that could impact client trust. Again, no names, no specifics, just enough to make HR open a file. Then a third. This one referenced rumors in Chicago tech circles about inappropriate conduct involving partners of close friends. Vague, but pointed. He got called into a meeting, not a full investigation yet, just a friendly chat with his manager and someone from HR. "We've received some concerns, Jake. Nothing formal, but we wanted to touch base. Anything you want to share?" He denied everything, of course, played confused. Must be a disgruntled ex or something. I keep my personal life separate. But I know him. He hates uncertainty, hates not being in control. Friends said he started drinking more at networking events, 3 whiskeys instead of 2, looser tongue. He pulled out of another client golf outing, stopped posting work wins on LinkedIn. His boss noticed the dip in energy. One night, he texted an old college buddy who screenshotted and sent it to the group chat I still lurked in. "Works on my ass on some anon bullshit. Life's weird, RN." He looked thinner in photos, the easy smile gone. They weren't linking it to me, not yet. How could they? I was the quiet one who'd moved on, posting gym progress, art shows, cozy coffee dates with new people, smiling in every picture. But the whispers in our shared social circle were growing. Someone asked in a group chat, "Wait, did Sarah sleep with someone's boyfriend? I keep hearing stuff." Another, "I heard it was someone close to her, like a best friend's guy." No one said my name, not directly, but the dots were starting to connect for a few people. Sarah and Jake stopped showing up to the same parties. When they did overlap, the vibe was tense. One friend said Sarah got drunk and ranted to a small group. "People are making up lies because they're jealous. I don't even know who's doing it." Jake, meanwhile, started blaming random coworkers. "Someone's trying to sabotage my promotion." Paranoia, short tempers, isolation creeping in. They were feeling the walls closing in, slowly, steadily, nothing dramatic enough to fight back against, just life getting heavier, unfair, confusing. And me? I'd sit on my balcony some nights, wrapped in a blanket, watching the city lights twinkle across the skyline, the L train rumbling in the distance, the wind off the lake sharp against my face. I'd think about that morning, waking up to them tangled together, the texts they sent when I was breaking, the way they laughed it off, and I'd feel the pressure I was building reflected back, only now it was on them. Sarah's confidence cracking, Jake's perfect life wobbling. The stakes were rising, real consequences starting to bite. They still didn't know it was me, but they were starting to feel the weight. And I wasn't even close to done. The best part? They couldn't stop what they couldn't see coming. The trap was working. Piece by piece, the world they built on my pain was starting to crumble, and I hadn't said a single word out loud. Not yet.
Chicago winters are brutal, and this one felt personal. December wind whipped off the lake, turning every street corner into a wind tunnel. Holiday lights twinkled along Michigan Avenue, carols spilled out of every store, people bundled up with hot chocolate and shopping bags, rushing toward warmth. I barely noticed any of it. By now, the systems I'd quietly set in motion were closing in, multiple fronts, all at once. And Sarah and Jake, they were starting to drown. I'd spent the fall gathering everything, the hard proof, screenshots of their texts gushing about that night while I was breaking, timestamps, my journal entries from the days after, detailing the trauma, the vomiting, the panic attacks, voice memos I'd recorded in therapy sessions, with permission, describing the freeze response. Even a couple of short private recordings I'd made legally under Illinois one-party consent laws, one from that coffee shop confrontation with Jake, another when Sarah showed up at my door, her laughing it off, calling me dramatic, admitting jealousy. Everything dated, organized, undeniable. Then I widened the net. For Sarah's bar, I compiled it all into a single polite email to the owner and general manager. Anonymous sender, of course, subject line, ongoing concerns about bartender conduct. Attached was a PDF, screenshots of recent reviews mentioning her by name, patterns of complaints, and a calm summary. Multiple patrons, including former regulars, have reported feeling uncomfortable due to aggressive boundary crossing by bartender Sarah. This isn't isolated. It's a pattern that's hurting your reputation. No mention of me, no personal story, just facts and evidence, enough to make them pay attention. 2 weeks later, a friend who still went there told me Sarah got pulled into the office. Not fired, not yet, but put on probation. Shifts cut from 5 nights a week to 3. Weekday, slow ones. Her income tanked. She had to pick up side gigs doing bottle service at clubs just to cover rent. She posted less. When she did, the shine was gone. No more flashy cocktail videos, just tired selfies with captions like, "Grind never stops," and forced smiles. One night she went live for a few minutes, I watched muted, and you could see her eyes were red. She ranted about fake reviews ruining good people's lives before abruptly ending it. For Jake, I escalated too. 3 more anonymous tips to his company's ethics line, each spaced out, each slightly different. One mentioned witness accounts of inappropriate conduct at private gatherings. Another referenced potential conflict of interest involving personal relationships within professional networks. Then I sent a blind copy to his direct manager's public work email, the one listed on the site. Same PDF format, professional, detached. The result? Full HR investigation. He got called in right before Christmas, had to hand over his phone for review, company policy for investigations. They questioned him for hours, asked about rumors, about specific dates. He lied, of course, but the stress was visible. A mutual friend ran into him at a holiday party and said he looked rough, unshaven, drinking heavily, barely talking. When someone asked about his big promotion that was supposed to close this quarter, he muttered, "on hold," and changed the subject. Socially, the circle was shrinking for both of them. I dropped the first real breadcrumb in late November, an anonymous post in a popular Chicago Reddit subreddit, r/Chicago Food, since the bar was well known. Title, "Anyone else have weird experiences with a bartender at bar name in Logan Square?" I kept my story out, just asked the question and let others fill in. The thread blew up. Dozens of comments, some naming Sarah directly, others describing almost identical situations. She flirted hard with my husband right in front of me, made our whole girls' night awkward, used to love that place but stopped going because of her. The post got cross-shared to neighborhood Facebook groups. The bar's overall rating dropped half a star. Another Anon post went up in r/Chicago Tech, vague but pointed. Heard some sketchy stories about a sales rep at company name abbreviated. Anyone know if HR actually does anything about personal conduct stuff? Comments speculated, named names. Jake's came up twice. Our old college friends started pulling away. Group chats went quiet when Sarah or Jake were mentioned. Party invites stopped including them. One by one, people messaged me privately, "Hey, Em, random, but everything okay with you and Sarah or Jake? Hearing weird things." I never confirmed, just said, "It's complicated," and left it there. The isolation hit them hard. Sarah blamed jealous girls and fake accounts. Jake blamed some bitter ex trying to sabotage him. They even started turning on each other. A mutual friend overheard them arguing at a bar, Sarah accusing him of throwing her under the bus to save his job, Jake snapping that she brought it on herself with her flirty bullshit. I sat in my apartment some nights, snow falling quietly outside my big windows, and reflected. I thought about that night again. The freeze, the humiliation, waking up to them tangled together, their texts calling it the best night of their lives. I thought about how they looked at my pain and decided it didn't matter. Now they were getting a taste. Not the full story yet. No one knew it was me, but real consequences. Sarah crying in her car after slow shifts. Jake staring at his phone waiting for emails from HR. Reputation cracking, income dropping, friends fading. The trap was tightening. Multiple systems, work, social, online, all closing in at once. And the best part? They still couldn't see the full picture, couldn't fight back, couldn't stop it. They were living the powerlessness I'd felt, only now it was their turn. I wasn't angry anymore, not in the hot, messy way. It was colder now, clearer. The emotional payoff was close. I could feel it building. One more push and everything would collapse for them. The truth was about to come out, and when it did, there'd be no hiding, no rewriting the story, no way back. They thought they'd gotten away with it, but the storm was almost here, and this time, I was the one bringing it.
Spring in Chicago always feels like a reward after the long freeze. The city explodes with life. Cherry blossoms lining the streets, outdoor patios packed again, the lakefront trail overflowing with runners and rollerbladers. People shed their coats, smile at strangers, act like the winter never tried to kill them. I was ready for the thought to hit Sarah and Jake harder than anyone else. April came in warm, and I decided it was time. I'd held back the full truth for almost a year, kept my name out of every review, every tip, every whisper, let the pressure build from the outside in. Now, I was going to light the fuse myself. First move, the group chat. There's this big one from college. 25 people, the core crew that stayed tight since graduation. Birthdays, engagements, job changes, breakups, everything gets announced there. Sarah and Jake were still in it. I'd stayed silent the whole time, just reacting with thumbs up or hearts when I felt like it. On a quiet Tuesday night, I dropped the bomb. A long message, calm, factual, no screaming emojis, no all caps rage. Hey everyone, I've stayed quiet for a long time because I didn't want drama, but I need to clear the air. Last year, Sarah initiated a sexual situation with Jake and me without my consent. I froze in the moment, trauma response, and participated when I didn't want to. The next morning, I left and had a full breakdown. While I was falling apart, they texted each other, calling it the best night of their lives and talking about doing it again. Screenshots attached. I uploaded 10 images, carefully redacted where needed, but crystal clear on the worst parts. Jake saying it was the best night of his life, Sarah saying it was so hot, them praising each other's bodies, timestamps visible. My name blurred in a couple, but context obvious. Then I continued. I've been in therapy ever since. They know what they did, but never took real accountability. The recent issues at Sarah's bar and Jake's job, those started organically, but I won't lie, I helped nudge things along because I was tired of watching them thrive while I suffered in silence. I'm not asking anyone to take sides. I just needed the truth out there. Thanks for reading. I hit send and turned my phone face down. Within minutes, the chat erupted. Heart reactions on my message first, then typing bubbles everywhere. Emily, oh my God, I'm so sorry this happened to you. What the F, Sarah? This is disgusting. A few people left the chat immediately, ones closer to Sarah. Most stayed and flooded me with private messages of support. Sarah's response came 20 minutes later, a voice note, voice shaking. Emily, this is insane. You're twisting everything. We were all drunk, all into it. You're trying to ruin my life over one night? She followed with texts calling me bitter, jealous, mentally unstable. Jake stayed silent in the chat, but he DM'd me privately. Please take that down. You're going to get me fired. We can talk this out. I didn't reply. Second move, public. That same night, I posted an anonymized version of the story on two big Chicago subreddits, r/Chicago and r/AskChicago, with throwaway accounts. No names, but enough specifics for anyone who knew us to connect the dots. Title, Am I ATA for finally speaking up after my best friend and boyfriend betrayed me in the worst way? I told the whole story, the game night, the kiss, the freeze, the morning after, the texts, the gaslighting, kept it raw but factual, ended with, I stayed quiet a year while they partied and posted like nothing happened. Now their jobs are feeling consequences, and they're mad at me for ruining their reputations. MIATA? The posts blew up. Hundreds of upvotes in hours, comments pouring in. NTA, this is horrific, they're trash. Free's response is real. You didn't consent just because you didn't fight. Expose the bar and company if you feel safe. Someone cross-posted a snippet to a popular Chicago gossip Instagram account. Then a local TikTok creator stitched a video reacting, Y'all, this Chicago tea is scalding. By morning, the bar's name was being tagged in comments. People recognized the details and filled in Sarah's name. Same with Jake's company. The bar's Google rating dropped another half-star overnight. Dozens of new one-star reviews. Heard about how one of your bartenders treats women, not supporting this place anymore. Jake's LinkedIn got quiet. No more likes, no more comments from colleagues. A friend told me his HR investigation went from informal to formal with possible termination. Sarah lost it publicly, posted a tearful story denying everything, calling it a smear campaign by a jealous ex-friend. But the more she fought, the worse it looked. People screenshotted her old flirty posts, her living my best life captions right after that night. Jake finally cracked too. Drunk called a mutual friend begging for help controlling the narrative. Word spread fast. Their images shattered in real time. Sarah got demoted to weekday lunch shifts only, then stopped getting scheduled at all. Jake was put on unpaid leave pending the investigation's outcome. Mutual friends unfollowed, blocked, or just ghosted them both. And me? I stayed composed, didn't engage in the drama, didn't gloat. I answered private messages with, thank you, I'm just healing now. Went to therapy, ran my lakefront miles, posted a simple story the next day, a photo of the sunrise over Lake Michigan with the caption, New Season. People flooded my DMs with support. Old friends I hadn't talked to in years reached out. Work friends checked in. Even my boss gave me a random half-day off to recharge. The anticipation I'd carried for months was peaking. Sarah and Jake were scrambling, lying, lashing out, losing control completely. And the final blow? It hadn't even landed yet. I still had one more card to play, one direct confrontation that would reverse everything. The power wasn't theirs anymore. It was mine, and I was about to use it. The climax was coming. They weren't ready, but I was.
Summer in Chicago was at its peak. Hot, sticky days bleeding into warm nights. The city humming with festivals, rooftop parties, and fireworks over the lake. Everyone was out chasing the short-lived magic before fall crept back in. I picked the hottest week of July to finish it. By now, Sarah and Jake were shells of who they'd been. Sarah had lost her job at the bar completely. The owner finally let her go after too many no-shows and one final customer complaint that went viral in a neighborhood group. She was bouncing between bottle service gigs at clubs, but even those were drying up as word spread.
Jake was on indefinite unpaid leave, the HR investigation dragging into its third month with no end in sight. Their social circle had evaporated. Most mutual friends blocked them, the rest just stopped inviting. They were isolated, desperate, exactly where I needed them. I reached out separately, one text each. Simple, calm. To Sarah, we should talk, just us. Coffee tomorrow? I'll send the place. To Jake, I think it's time we spoke face to face. No yelling, just closure. Meet me Thursday? They both said yes immediately. Of course they did. They thought I was finally ready to forgive, or at least negotiate some truce to stop the bleeding. I picked neutral spots, different days, same script. Sarah first. We met at a quiet cafe in Lincoln Park. Big windows, lots of plants, soft indie music. I got there early, ordered an iced latte, sat in the corner booth with my back to the wall. I wore a simple sundress, hair down, minimal makeup. I looked soft, approachable, like the old Emily. She walked in 10 minutes late, looking rough, hair in a messy bun, dark circles under her eyes, oversized sunglasses even indoors. She spotted me and hesitated, like she wasn't sure whether to hug or bolt. I smiled, waved her over. She slid into the seat across from me, clutching her iced coffee like a shield. Thanks for reaching out. I've been wanting to talk. This whole thing got so out of control. I nodded, let her talk. She started with apologies, sort of. I'm so sorry you got hurt. I never meant it for it to blow up like this. But you posting those screenshots, that destroyed my life, my job, my friends, everything. I stayed quiet, let the silence stretch. She kept going. We were all drunk that night, all into it. I thought you were on board. I feel awful now, but you have to see how posting everything publicly was too far. I finally spoke, voice steady, low. Sarah, I didn't post it to destroy you. I posted it because I was destroyed first. You kissed my boyfriend in front of me. You started something I never agreed to. I froze. And the next day, while I was throwing up and crying alone, you two were texting about how hot it was and how you wanted to do it again. Her mouth opened, closed. I pulled out my phone, showed her the full folder, every screenshot, every review I'd seeded, every anonymous email, the timeline, the proof. I didn't make any of it up. I just helped the truth spread faster. The reviews, some were mine at first, most weren't. People already didn't like how you treated boundaries. I just gave them a place to say it. Her face went pale. You did all of this? Every bit, quietly, for months, while you posted your best life selfies. She started crying. Not dramatic, quiet, defeated tears. I didn't think you'd fight back. You were always the nice one. I leaned in. That was your mistake. She whispered, What do you want now? Money? For me to leave Chicago? I shook my head. I want you to feel it. All of it. The humiliation, the isolation, the regret. And then I want you to live with it, like I had to. I stood up, left cash for my drink. As I walked out, she called after me, voice breaking. Emily, I really am sorry. I didn't turn around. 2 days later, Jake. Same setup, different cafe, this one near the lake. I wore jeans and a tank, hair in a ponytail, stronger look. He showed up on time, suit jacket off, sleeves rolled up, looking like he hadn't slept in weeks. He tried for a smile when he saw me. Babe, thank you for this. I've missed you so much. He reached for my hand across the table. I pulled back. He flinched. I let him talk first, too. He started with excuses, then apologies, then begging. I was an idiot, horny, stupid, selfish. I never meant to hurt you like this. The investigation at work, they're talking termination. My career's over. Please, tell them it was a misunderstanding. Help me fix this. I waited until he ran out of words. Then I laid it all out. Same as with Sarah. The folder on my phone, the timeline, every move I'd made. His face went from hopeful to horrified. You reported me? The reviews, the Reddit posts, all of it? Every single one. He started shaking, actually shaking. Why? We could have worked this out privately. I laughed, short, cold. Privately? Like how you two handled it privately while calling it the best night of your lives, while planning round 2 without me? He put his head in his hands. I was wrong, so wrong. I'm losing everything. I leaned forward. Good, you deserve to lose it. You took my trust, my dignity, my sense of safety. You looked at my pain and decided it was worth it for a thrill. Now you get to feel worthless, powerless, like everyone's turned against you for good reason. He looked up, eyes red. Is this it? You're done? Almost. I stood. One last thing. I'm not taking any of it back. The truth stays out there. You live with the consequences. Both of you. He whispered, I hate what I did to you. I paused at the table. I don't care what you feel anymore. I care that you finally feel something. I walked out into the bright Chicago sunshine, the lake sparkling across the street, people laughing on patios, music drifting from a rooftop nearby. And for the first time in over a year, I felt light. The power dynamic wasn't just reversed, it was obliterated. They were humiliated, isolated, broken. I wasn't cheering, wasn't dancing, but God, it felt right. Deeply, perfectly right. The revenge wasn't loud, it was total, and it was mine. They thought they could violate me and walk away untouched. They were wrong. I won. Completely.
It's been almost 2 years now since that night, and Chicago feels like my city again. Real Chicago, not the blurred, suffocating version I lived in right after everything fell apart. I'm talking summer nights on rooftop bars with friends who actually deserve the title, fall walks through Millennium Park watching the leaves turn, winter lights along the magnificent mile that make the cold worth it, spring runs along the lakefront when the air finally smells like hope again. I reclaimed it all. Sarah left Chicago last winter. Word is she moved back to her small hometown in downstate Illinois, someplace with one stoplight and cornfields for miles. She bounces between serving jobs at chain restaurants and living with her parents. Her Instagram is private now, barely updated. The last public post I saw before she locked it was a generic quote about starting over. No more flashy cocktails, no more living my best life captions, just silence. Jake got fired officially 6 months after the investigation wrapped. The company cited conduct unbecoming, vague enough to cover them legally, specific enough to end his career in Chicago tech. He tried applying around the city for a while, but word travels fast in those circles. Eventually, he took a lower-paying sales job in Milwaukee and moved there. I heard he's dating someone new, but keeps it off social media entirely. No more gym selfies, no more confident LinkedIn posts, just quiet. Our old friend group, it splintered, then rebuilt without them. Most people reached out to me privately after the truth came out. Apologies for not seeing it sooner. Anger at Sarah and Jake. Relief that I was okay. A few stayed neutral and faded away. That's fine. The ones who mattered stuck around, and we've added new people since. Real ones, safe ones. Me? I got promoted at work last spring. Senior graphic designer now. Bigger projects, better pay, my own junior to mentor. My boss pulled me into her office after the announcement and said, "You've been unstoppable this year. Whatever you're doing, keep it." She has no idea. Therapy ended a few months ago, not because I'm fixed, trauma doesn't work like that, but because I reached a place where I can carry it without it carrying me. I still have hard days. Intrusive memories still pop up sometimes, but they don't floor me anymore. They pass through and I keep going. I started dating again this past summer. His name's Alex. We met at a rooftop yoga class of all places.
He's kind, patient, respects boundaries without me having to spell them out. We take it slow. He knows the broad strokes of what happened. I told him early because I refused to hide it anymore. He listened without judgment and just said, "You're the strongest person I know." We're not rushing labels, but for the first time in years, I feel safe with someone. I run 5 miles every morning, no matter the weather. Watching the sunrise over Lake Michigan has become my ritual. Some mornings I stop at the same spot on the trail, look out at the water, and just breathe. Those minutes are mine, undeniable proof that I made it through. People ask me sometimes, close friends over wine, if I regret how far I went, if the revenge was worth it. My answer is always the same. I didn't set out to destroy them. I set out to stop letting them destroy me. They violated me in the deepest way, laughed about it, gaslit me, expected me to stay quiet and carry the shame alone while they moved on unscathed. I refused. Every review I ceded, every anonymous tip, every calculated silence, it wasn't cruelty, it was correction, balance. They lost jobs, friends, reputations. I got my power back, my peace, my future. There's no version of this story where they walk away untouched, and I'm okay with that. Karma didn't need to find them. I delivered it. Quietly, completely, permanently. And the best part, I sleep at night. Deep, dreamless sleep, because I know I fought for myself when no one else would. I know I turned the worst thing that ever happened to me into the moment I became unbreakable. So no, I don't regret a thing. If someone betrays you like that, takes your trust, your body, your dignity, and treats it like a joke, you don't owe them forgiveness. You don't owe them silence. You owe yourself justice, whatever form that takes. Because here's the truth they never saw coming. The quiet ones, the nice ones, the ones who freeze instead of fight in the moment. We remember everything. We heal slowly. And when we're ready, we don't miss. Thank you for listening to my story. If you're out there carrying something like this, feeling small, ashamed, powerless, know this: you are not disposable, you are not dramatic, you are not weak for freezing, and you do not have to stay broken. Heal quietly if you need to, plan if you need to, then rise, because what doesn't destroy you makes you dangerous in the best possible way. And one day, you'll stand in your city, your life, and realize it's yours again, completely. That's the real revenge, living well, freely, without them.